You live?
I think we're good.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Awesemo.com Lock for Lock show, an MLB-only edition because the NBA is getting to rest their little pause before they start playing again this weekend. But as always, I'm Chris Spags, joined normal on a Thursday by our boy, data scientist Jake Hari. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I just realized there is NHL tonight. There's Game 7. So, if anybody wants to talk hockey in here, pop in with some questions, and I'll try to answer any showdown questions. I wrote an article today, but it's going to be mostly MLB. Not much else going on. Just one NHL game, and then that's it. So,
yeah. Well, I guess we'll talk NHL. Jake will talk NHL if you have those questions. If you don't have those questions, though, it's completely fine. We don't have to talk NHL at all. We'll just talk because NHL, I can't expect it to be an all Jake show where we're just talking all your favorite sports and then bathing in your glory.
Yeah, that's true. Are people in chat here? Are people watching us here?
I think it's starting. I'm getting a little lag on you, so hopefully it's okay for them. But they'll trickle in. They'll trickle in.
All right, here we go.
Can you play Josh's wife? That is not Josh's wife, I don't believe. I'm pretty sure that is just a sound effect. So, Mr. Riggs. But welcome everyone who is funneling into chat now. Mustache bet? What's a mustache bet?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Miles McCollum.
I don't know what that is.
Miles McCollum, one of the pitchers tonight for the Cardinals. So I'm super high on him. I wrote him up in the spotlight pitchers and stuff, and he's got this really ugly mustache. And I said that if he throws a no-hitter, that I would grow out the mustache and wear it.
Oh, have you tried a mustache before?
I mean, not really, but it's not gonna look good if he does it. And then I said, okay, no hitter, that's once every few months in the MLB. So I said complete game shutout. Complete game shutout is my final offer. And then I'll grow out the Miles McCollum mustache.
All right. Well, I mean, it's an interesting choice by you all around, but I think you could pull it off. You got the for it, maybe.
No, I definitely do not. I can't pull it off, but hopefully he does it, and we all make money, and then I'll gladly do it in that case.
So I guess let's start there then, Jake. Who are the pitchers who you're willing to grow facial hair over tonight, or who are the pitchers who are jumping off? People are already asking for Dong of the Day play. Dong of the Day is tough, man. It's been a tough run for me, so I'm cold. Jake's gotten one this week, but Josh has still got 0. I mean, he may never get one, and it's not as easy as we've made it look. But we'll revisit that a little later in the show. But Jake, give me your pitchers to start.
Yeah, so McCullers, he's my number one. I'm having him in my lineup, and then my other guys that I'm considering are Caleb Smith and Tyler Mahle. And I think Smith is going to be a little bit popular. Nothing crazy. He is 7,300 on DK. I like both. I like what I'm seeing out of both Mahle and Smith. So Mahle does have, I think, a little bit of a better matchup, even though it's not great. Smith's matchup was actually pretty awful against the Braves. So I don't know what exactly I'm doing with my second pitcher yet, but I do like those two as my SP2 options.
Yes, Smith we actually have. If you were an Awesemo.com premium member, you could check the ownership projections. We have him projected to actually be pretty highly owned on DK. I think he's at a salary point where a lot of people will probably land on. I think we actually have him to be the third most popular pitcher based on ownership. So from a DVP perspective, that's high ownership for Caleb Smith, given Caleb Smith, and he's, on the Marlins.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that. I was just looking at the ownership projections before I came on here. And so what percent did you say he was on DK?
We have him as, I don't know if we should give out the number, but we have him as the third highest owned pitcher.
Okay, yeah. So I just did a Control F, and now I see him. So yeah, he is projected for a little bit of ownership. So I was a little surprised to see that. I remembered he was up near the top. Third most owned pitcher is what we have him for, like you said. I mean, I'm not scared of that ownership. I don't know. Where are you at for pitching? Like, do you have a clear preference? Do you have a clear number one? Like, who's your Miles McCollus?
Yeah, it's not actually. I generally like McCollus, but it wasn't him. Mine is actually Garrett Richards. I think was in a pretty good spot, and I like the price for him. I don't think the matchup against him it's not great, but I think it's winnable. So I think the one thing that kind of scares me off is we have him also as being one of the top 3 owned pitchers on the slate. So that kind of gives me some pause about it. But Richards looks like the best play to me. I also don't mind Lyles. Like, I mean, granted, he's a relief pitcher coming in, but I think that might give him a little chip on his shoulder, maybe. I mean, and the actual numbers aren't terrible. So I don't mind him given how cheap he is. I feel like I could see there being an outcome where he actually performs well enough to be valuable.
Yeah, the only problem with Lyles is that he's not going to go very deep. So I think he's only gone 3 innings one time this year. He's a reliever, like you said. So he would have to be ultra efficient to even go like 4 or 5 innings. So I'm not on Lyles.
It's a permanent move for him, though. They're saying like he is going to be a starter moving forward.
Yeah.
I mean,
but he still may not be. I don't think he's stretched out. Like I don't know what he threw in his last appearance or whatever, but I don't know. You might be right on that. I'm off Lyles though. What else we got here? Walker Buehler we should talk about.
Oh yeah.
So are you on Buehler at all?
I have a little bit of him. I think he's a pretty good play. I think there's a case to be made to go against him, though. The thing is, like, he grades out really well on everything. Like, he doesn't have a high fly ball rate. His xFIP looks good. He's been really consistent so far. I don't know that he's worth the 10,500 that he is on DraftKings. But as a pitcher, like, I don't think I want to stack against him too much. I think it's worth maybe a shot or two, but I don't see that as being a popular stack to go against him.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be popular to stack against him. I wonder how popular he's going to be on a site like DK, a 2-pitcher site, where you want to pay up for hitting tonight. At least I do. I prefer McCollus over him by a pretty decent margin. And I thought Buehler was going to be higher owned than him, but I guess we will have to wait and see. It's an okay matchup for him, but I'm not crazy about what I'm seeing as far as whiffs or getting chases out of the zone or anything. So Buehler is not going to be on my lineup tonight.
Yeah, I don't mind him, but I think you're right. Nicholas probably a little better. Yeah, I think that's probably a fair perspective. Wait, what do we have? Where is Buehler's ownership at? Buehler,
a lot lower than I thought.
But about the same with Nicholas. So I mean, I guess you're basically splitting hairs at that point at those prices. And if Jake says Nicholas, maybe that's a good case to go Nicholas. Let's see.
I'm assuming he'll have more points than what Dylan Bundy did 2 days ago, but I don't know. I guess we shall see.
Any love for CC? I do not have any tonight. I don't think Vegas doesn't seem to like him, and I think I would only play CC if Vegas were into him at this point. I played him one time this year, and it did not go well. And granted, it's recency bias and all that, but I don't think CC has it unless Vegas is like, hey, CC's going to have it tonight.
Yeah, I'm not on CC. I can't do it. I think there are better options that are near him. The Red Sox have been really bad against lefties, but that should straighten itself out. They have guys that should be really good against lefties. Betts, Ramirez, JD Martinez, and they're all in the lineup. I think Sabathia is going to have trouble with them, but I mean, Sabathia is good at limiting hard contact, so he's not a guy I really want to stack against, but I'm not on him either.
How about the other side of that with Eduardo, your boy, who has been up and down this year a little bit. Not a great matchup for him, but no love for him at all?
No, I do like him. I think he's going to be pretty low owned. It's just that these Yankees bats are so tough, man. Like, he could make one mistake, and he's a guy that'll walk people. He'll be really inefficient with his pitch count and stuff. if he gets into trouble against the top of this lineup, he's going to get into big trouble. So I think that's enough to keep me off of Erod. I prefer Smith or Tyler Mahle for a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Red Sox actually look okay to stack against. Like, I think Stanton in particular has been killing lefties this year, much better against lefties and righties. And I think that's something that I wouldn't mind giving a shot tonight, though we also think Stanton, I think, is going to be pretty highly owned. But I think a Yankee stack still seems a little counterintuitive, even though it's actually been pretty good to stack the Yankees in this series versus Boston. They've kind of brought out the bats a lot. Any thoughts on Rourke?
No, man, I hate playing Rourke. It's just not a good enough matchup for me to get to Rourke. I don't think he has much upside in general, so I'm off of him. He's just a guy I never really play.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the one reason to play him, I think, would be, well, actually, no, not even, because Arizona they didn't fix that hitting situation, right? They're with their humidor.
I mean, I guess we won't know for years down the road, like, once we get enough data. I mean...
Right, of course.
So, who knows? Right now, it's supposed to make it a little bit worse of a hitting park, but it's not like it's Petco or something now where it's really hard to hit a home run.
Yeah, there hasn't been an appreciable change so far, I think, from what the limited samples that we've seen thus far this year.
Yeah.
Is Fulton... I don't actually know how to pronounce the name. Fulton Newix? Is that what we're doing here? Fulton Nevich. Okay. Is he a good play? I think if he's grading out well on one site and not the other, that's surely just a price play, probably. That's generally how Osmo's grades go, is like it's based upon price versus Vegas performance. So if he's not great on one site, it's probably because he's priced a little too high. But Jake, what do you think about him?
Yeah, he's super expensive on DK. And then he had that thing with it was going around Twitter last week. During his last start, he was like tipping his pitches. So that scares me a little bit. 9,500 for him. Marlins have been okay. They got Real Muto back. They got Prado back. So a little bit better of a lineup than what we saw the first few weeks. So I'm off Fulte. I get it on FanDuel, though. Like, I can't pay 9,500 for a guy that I think might be tipping pitches.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, at least see what he does, see where he goes. Maybe he'll fix it today. Who knows?
Right.
Gardner or Adam Jones is a one-off. Somebody asking also what a one-off is. A one-off is a player that you're playing if you're not stacking a bunch of lineups or not stacking the entire team, rather. Okay, Nationals lineup, I guess, just came out. But Gardner or Adam Jones is a one-off. Which would you pick?
Gardner or Adam Jones?
Yeah.
That's Adam Jones for me. He's hitting the ball a lot better going up against Ian Kennedy, Hitters Park. I like the hitters around Adam Jones. So, yeah, that's Jones pretty easily for me. And then Gardner's lefty-lefty, so I'm off of that.
Yeah, Gardner's not good versus lefties either. So he's not one of those guys who's pretty sneaky good. He has pretty bad power numbers. Not great on base percentage either. Only just a little over 300. Yeah. So, yeah, no, I would definitely go Jones too. Sight unseen, even without even looking up Jones. Roark and Mikolas. Oh, any weather concerns tonight, Jake?
I'm seeing a little bit of rain in New York, but outside of that, it looks pretty good. I don't think that New York game has a chance of being postponed or anything. I'll go on AccuWeather and check for sure, but I don't think there's any glaring concerns. There certainly aren't outside of New York.
Cool. All right. Let's see any other questions in here. Let's talk stacks then. No other good questions yet about pitchers. Where are you stacking the most? What do you think are the most popular stacks of the night? But what's the most popular to you first? Let's go there.
Yeah, my favorite is Colorado is probably my favorite. Just huge run total. Chacin, although I do have some respect for Chacin against righties. You got Blackman and Dahl in there and Parra, who can give him some trouble. But outside of Coors, KC is my favorite stack. The Royals. I think they're gonna Dylan Bundy, Chris Tillman tonight. Like, I think Tillman gets rocked. 54.8% hard hit percentage, 10.3% K percentage against lefties this year. He's just a horrendous pitcher. I think he just gets blown up once again. Good park for the Royals. Like, Moustakis, if he's not the Dong call, I don't know who isn't. But or I don't know who is, I should say. And then Duda is cheap. Like, through Merrifield, I like all these guys.
Yeah, I thought they looked good last night, too, versus Kashner, but they didn't come through as well versus him. But, I mean, again, similar matchup. All three of those Orioles pitchers actually grade out similarly in a bad way in terms of potential to give up a lot of big plays. So, yeah, I think that's totally fine. I'm a little intrigued by the Yankees. I only have a little bit of them, but I just think there's something interesting there, in particular going with Stanton, Austin, Sanchez. I'm trying to think, who else do I have? I don't know. The highest run total, yeah, obviously Colorado is a big one. Colorado is going to be very popular, and we've seen actually just a couple games ago, I think they were very highly owned in that one of the other Angels games, and really didn't do much. Didn't get a whole lot going besides Trevor Story having a good day. So I don't know. I think there is a little downside there, but they do all look good. Blackman, I think in particular, looked really good to me. I think I've been in a lot of lineups actually. And the Brewers, too, in that same Coors Field. I think they look good on the other side of it, too.
For sure. Like, I mean, I like the Brewers. I like the Rockies. I just think, Kansas City will have a lot of ownership here because of their pricing. Everybody knows how bad Chris Tillman is. I do like the Yankees call. Eduardo's a guy, like I said, who can give up a bunch of walks. And then if he gets in trouble against Sanchez, Judge, or Stanton, that could be a 3-run homer right there, and that is obviously really good for your stack. So I like the Yankees call by you. Outside of them, Mike Leake for Seattle.
Oh, I was going to ask, because I know you like targeting Leake, and the Blue Jays look pretty good.
The Blue Jays look awesome. So Teoscar is probably my favorite play out of those guys. Yeah. He
is tentatively my dong pick.
Oh, really?
Unless I change of heart, yeah.
Yeah, I like him a lot. So you can have him. We can both get dongs tonight. Like, we don't have to go one or the other.
We can share the dongs tonight. There's dongs to go around for all.
We can share the dong tonight.
Well, Josh isn't here, so there's no bad luck. No cruise in the club without getting dongs. Because Josh is like he's in the pack who's like, holding us down, making snide comments, being like, oh, let's go home. Josh doesn't want dongs. Josh can't get dongs.
Right.
Jake and I, though, cruising for dongs.
We can get dongs. So Josh Donaldson for 4,700. I like all the righties, but it's not like Leake is some awesome pitcher against lefties either. And I think I said that this morning on the MLB strategy video. Like, he's just okay against lefties, but I think these righties are going to club him. Russell Martin and Teoscar I mentioned, Donaldson,
Granderson,
even like Gurriel. He's in the 9-hole, but I like his matchup. I wish he was batting like 7th, so I could actually consider playing him, but I don't have enough lineups to play a 9-hole hitter. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, so I didn't even mention the lefties. Solarte and Granderson, Smoke, all these guys, I think. Yeah, Toronto is a really awesome stack that I think will go a little bit overlooked just because of Kansas City and Coors.
Yeah, let me see. I wonder what our ownership. Yeah, we don't have them. We don't have them very high. I assume no. We have them to be some decently owned.
Okay.
I'm surprised. KC would still be the highest owned stack, I think, right now. Again, it's easier for you to decipher this on your own if you're an Osmo.com premium member. A lot of people are signing up. I learned some data today. Like, a lot of people really join in the pack of Osmo premium members. So get in there. If you're not, you're missing out on an advantage that a lot of people have. Let's see. Best player with a chance to double dong. Now you're trying to get 2 home runs? Get the fuck out of here. We can barely get 1 home run, you greedy mother. Don't come here with that, JM. But we will give our home run picks. I guess let's do it now, Jake. I'm sure you have one in mind. I'm going to stick with Teoscar Hernandez. I just think he's in a really good spot. I think he's in a good spot whether he hits a home run or not. But I think he's he stuck out to me in a good way. And again, going against Mike Leake seems like a good move overall.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. I love Teoscar. I won't pick a player in Coors Field, so Moustakis I think is the easy one. Probably one of the best chances at home run. Off Tillman, I read you guys the numbers for Tillman. Like, he's just going to be throwing meatballs up there, and Moustakis is a guy that should take advantage. Like, the only thing I'm scared about is him, like, walking 3 times. He's going to hit the ball really hard.
Yeah, I think Moustakas is pretty good. The thing is, like, he did kill them once the series already. They might not want to get, they might go away from him a little bit. I think he is the obvious one to be afraid of on that lineup. Like maybe Perez might be a beneficiary of that because I think he's a little less likely that they would want to pitch around him.
Yeah, dude, I love Salvador Perez. He's been hitting the ball so hard. I didn't even mention him when talking about the Royals stack, but yeah, like all these guys, man. Not even just the lefties. It's all the Royals. For me, I know they're going to be chalk, but got to just play the best plays, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. Somebody asking about the Reds stack. I don't have any Reds tonight. I think Votto looked pretty good. Actually, I did think that they looked pretty good. I just think Buehler's a good enough pitcher where he's not going to get killed. But I don't think that means I want to play him necessarily, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't want to stack against Buehler. I think he's good right now. I think he's going to be a lot better. He's obviously really young. The one guy I mentioned this morning that I want to target it with against Buehler is Eugenio Suarez. And Suarez has been awesome against righties this year. Still working with small samples in less than a month and a half of the season, or about a month and a half, I guess, now. But he's striking out like 11.5%, hitting the ball almost 50% of the time hard against righties. And Buehler, in his short sample, has been getting hit hard by righties. So I just think it matches up for like a 2% owned chance at a home run here for Suarez.
Yeah, and Votto too, on-base percentage of about 450 versus righties. Gennett looks pretty good. Duvall. I mean, it is possible to stack there. I think that makes sense if you just think Buehler's going to get killed. I just don't think that Buehler's that bad of a pitcher, but there's certainly an outcome where that happens. I mean, that's a thing that Osmo talked about in our premium Q&A videos. Not to keep mentioning premium stuff, but we've been making a lot of content, and it's been a lot of work. But he mentioned, like, in general, like, sometimes you're just trying to make a pivot just to differentiate your lineups, even if it's not like the best value play or whatever. And if you know Buehler's going to have some ownership, and the Reds look like a compelling stack, it probably makes sense if you're playing a bunch of lineups to have one Red stack. Right.
And yeah, I don't even know that you need to have a Red stack. Like if you think Buehler's going to be 40% or something, if you think any pitcher's going to be 40, 50% or just bad chalk in general, it's a good idea to take a hitter or 2 or 3 against them, because if that pitcher starts getting lit up and you have the guys that are going off against them, then you're not only getting points, but the rest of the field is losing points too. So just like you said, like it may not always be the most optimal plus EV play, but that's what you're not making plus EV lineups stacking 5 guys on the same team. They're not all 5 going to go off. So, or at least for the most part, like,
Yeah, so. I mean, well, in general, and this is actually just a question too for Brandon Parker, who's saying he finds MLB be the hardest sport. I mean, I think like in general, you want to stack more than less. So I mean, like if there's a bunch of guys, if you think Buehler's going to get one guy on base, like I think you still want to go with the guys as long as they have like positive stats. So I think you would still want to stack the Reds. Like, yeah, I mean, you could play a one-off player. Like a Suarez or like a Votto, and if you think they fit, price-wise. But I would still try to stack against them. Like I think once you give up that first hit, that first home run, there is kind of a slippery slope to it all, besides just the stats of it, which is that you're providing extra at-bats, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, for sure. You see pitchers go out there, and you can just tell when you're watching, a guy just doesn't have it some nights. And when that happens, some guys are more prone to get lit up than others, but I don't think any of these guys are like immune to getting blown up. I don't think any of these guys are like a Verlander or a Chris Sale where they're just going to go 6 or 7 innings like almost every time. So you can make a case to stack most teams, I think, on a slate like tonight with no studs.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah,
and then just for the people in the chat, mini stacks can make sense sometimes, but in general, the plus EV play over time is always to stack more than less, and that's something where we actually have data that's been proven by Osimo's team, the guys doing all the stuff behind the scenes. So Yeah, mini stacks can make sense, and like you might even see one winning. But in general, over time, you're going to be more likely to be a plus EV player by stacking more than less. That's just how it is. Like I think your brains always think like, oh, I could figure out the 2 guys who are going to do it, but you're like safer having 5 guys who like you're like, oh, this pitcher sucks, and the odds of you having like 3 of those 5 guys go off, and then the other guys maybe get an extra walk, getting a hit, are better than you being able to identify 2 guys from 4 different lineups. Is sort of how I was explained it. So
I agree with that. I think I confuse people saying that you shouldn't stack in tournaments. I definitely think you should stack in tournaments. And sometimes, depending on the slate size, it makes sense to stack 5 people, or maybe go with more of a mini stack approach on maybe a bigger slate. So it just depends. I mean, if a team's going to score 12 runs and be one of the highest scoring, like be the highest scoring team on the night, then you want 5 players from that stack. You know what I'm saying? So stacking is like you should be trying to be stacking pretty much every slate.
It's just to think about each individual. Like you're basically getting a free like shot at value each single time. Like if you're stacking more of a team, you have like the fact that they're creating other plate appearance means that there's a better shot at value. So if you're stacking like don't stack 5 crappy guys, but if you have 4 or 5 good guys, like you want to have that 4 or 5 good guys from that same team instead of like 3 good guys from here, 2 good guys from here. Like that's sort of the overall approach.
Yep.
Boom, boom, boom. Hope everybody's on Moustakas. Travis Shaw's the play. Travis Shaw looks okay. I don't think he's the play though, per se.
I think Shaw is a great play. If you think,
I don't think he's the play.
I think Moustakas is the best play, but I don't think Shaw's like that far behind. Like I wouldn't be at all shocked if Shaw outscored Moustakas. And if you think there's going to be a huge ownership discrepancy, then go with Shaw in a tournament.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think in general the approach that we've been trying to really give to you guys, and Osmo in particular pushes, is if you think somebody's going to be super highly owned, and there's another guy who, there's an outcome that's more likely than his ownership percentage where it's going to be a positive outcome, then, like, let's say the guy's 30% owned, but you think there's a 50% chance he's going to succeed that night, then you should have more of that guy, because that means that it's just a smarter play versus the field.
Right, and it may not seem like a smart play at the time. Like the guy may go 0 for 5, but over the long run, if you keep making that play, the idea is you're going to become. It's going to be higher EV. You're going to become a better player, more profitable over the long run. So baseball is really frustrating like that. You'll go on long losing streaks if you're not making a ton of lineups. So just try to hang in there and keep making the right plays.
Yep, I agree. What about what about Donaldson and Solarte? Yeah, I mean, we discussed this. I think the Blue Jays in general, they both look good. Pretty much everybody in that lineup looks good because Mike Leake is bad. Pretty simple. Yeah. Any shortstop interest for one-off plays?
Let me go. I'm assuming DraftKings. Let me get to my...
Yeah, probably.
Computer's being slow right now.
Take your time, Jim.
Shortstop plays?
Yeah.
Man, there's not a lot to like. So, like Machado at the top, and then I like Story a little bit, but I'm not crazy about him. I like Segura for 3,900. That's a good price against a lefty. Man, there is not a lot on shortstop, at shortstop.
I like Story more than you do. I think Arcia is not bad especially if you're stacking Brewers at all. I actually had not a fair amount, but like a couple of lineups with Arcia. Just it seemed like an okay play. It gets you to be able to afford a few better things, but only if you're going with the Brewers. And I think I like Story pretty much every day, so I think I'm okay with Story. DeJong isn't bad.
Yeah, he's just got huge power. Like he could get it out in Petco. Batting 6th, that's a nice. Usually a 7-hole hitter, right? Like that's a nice little lineup bump for him. If you're going really deep, I guess it's not that deep, but Johan Camargo, he's hit lefties decently hard, and he's going to get Caleb Smith. I don't think Caleb Smith is invincible, even though I'm interested in him tonight. So that would be a bat that you could target against him with, just as a cheap shortstop.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to give home run picks? So wait,
We already did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, do you want to give them again? I feel like people are asking again.
Oh yeah. So mine's Moustakas.
Yep. And then I'm going with Teoscar Hernandez. I feel like I should have probably built it up better. Or I was like, let's give our home run picks one more time for people. But yeah, I realized we did it. That kind of killed the enthusiasm of the moment. Who do you like from the last 4 games of the night from Washington, Arizona, Minnesota, and the Angels? Since that's okay. Who do you like in the last 4 games of the night?
Well, for pitching,
so like for late, potentially.
Yeah. So for pitching, I like McCollis, and I like Tyler Mahle for Cincinnati. Hitters, that's a different story. Like, I would like some of those Diamondbacks hitters if I had to. I would like some of the Angels lefties like Ohtani. There's no Valbuena in that lineup. That sucked. But I think there's not a lot to like on that late slate. I don't know why you'd want to play that.
No. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would do is that red stack that we talked about if you think Bueller's worth fading. That's actually probably more valuable on that late slate if you were to stack the reds and they do go off. Because a lot of people like the same, like obviously a lot more people will be on Buehler on that late slate.
Right. I actually like some Cardinals bats against Lyles. I know it's righty-righty, but I think he's going to be not pitching very long. So Carpenter, Fowler, Ozuna, Martinez, and then Pham. I'm not doing that on the main slate, but they're all pretty good hitters, and maybe they'll see a lefty at some point.
How do you feel about Berrios? Beto, our boy, and our live stream regular, typing him up a little in the chat. How do you think Berrios is in a good spot?
I mean, if you think Berrios is in a good spot, then you should play him. I don't. I'm just worried about the strikeout upside. The Angels don't really strike out that much. They've got the 3rd best WRC plus against righties.
A lot of danger in that lineup.
Yeah. Ohtani's in there. He's been one of the better hitters in the MLB so far. There's just not that many easy outs for Berrios, and I'm worried about the strikeouts. So I'm off him, but he's going to be low owned, I think. But I'm just not on him. I don't think he's that great of a play.
Yeah, I have him, I think, maybe in 1 or 2 lineups just because he fit price-wise, and I was like, again, there is a world where Berrios has a good night, so why not? But he is the 4th worst pitcher by xFIP on the slate, 4th highest fly ball rate, so a little bit of risk there. I think there's reason to not go that way. But whatever, nothing wrong with it. Any love for Caleb Smith? We discussed that a little bit. I think he's an okay play. I think, Jake and I both agree the Braves are a pretty tough matchup for him. The Braves have probably been hitting lefties as well as anybody. But I think, he has some upside. He's at home, so, maybe a little bit of a pitcher's park bonus. But I don't mind him.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. On a different slate, I probably wouldn't have as much interest in him as I do. I don't think it's a great matchup for him. There's just a lot of landmines in that Braves lineup with Acuna and Albies. Freddie Freeman from the left side is not easy. Suzuki, been one of the best hitters against lefties in all of the MLB this year. Going back to last year even, he's been insane. So it's not a great matchup for Smith. I just think the talent can win out here. He's got 3 pitches in the top 25 for whiffs per swing this year, which is really impressive.
Yeah. People asking about Lyles. Jake, not into Lyles. I think Lyles is an interesting thought given his price. But, Jake, you want to give me your logic again? Why no Lyles?
Yeah, so he's only gone 3 innings, I believe, 1 time in a relief appearance. You said that he's moving permanently to the rotation. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so maybe they let him go a little bit longer than what they would, but I still don't think he's stretched out. He threw 45 pitches on April 29th, May 2nd, which was 8 days ago. So he's fully rested. I mean, I don't know if he did a bullpen session in between now and 8 days ago, but he threw 17 pitches May 2nd. I just don't see him going longer than 3-4 innings. So you're just really, really limiting your upside. You need him to be really efficient, and it's a good Cardinals team. It's a good offense, at least. So I'm off Lyles. Not this slate for me.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I still will have him because, I mean, look, he's at a pitcher's park, super cheap, and he works and made it easier to stack the guys I wanted to on offense. And that's how I've been building my lineups, stacking on offense and just praying for pitching to be not terrible. So that's what I'll stick with tonight. But I think, the logic that Jake is saying is probably the correct logic. I don't know. What do we think, actually? What are we grading him at, Lyles? Lyles, we do not have a value or a points grade for him because he has no track record, but he is a B in value. So that is but we also have a lot of shitty guys who are sometimes A's in value because they're good values because they're so shitty. So that is a conundrum.
Yeah, but I mean, anytime a starting pitcher is 4,200, like he's going to come up pretty decently in the value section. Especially with the 4.1 run total on the other side, but I don't know if that accounts for the pitch count.
Okay. Yeah. Well, whatever. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. What is his? Yeah. What's Lyles' money line? Lyles is Lyles is a plus 130, so that's not a good indicator either. Well, whatever. Well, good luck to you tonight, Jordan Lyles. I'm rooting for you. How often do you guys game stack? And do you like doing it? Do you mean like stacking an entire game on both sides, or if we're stacking lineups, that is what we're always doing?
Right. They're saying game stack. I mean, I'm never gonna force a game stack in. Like, I don't think that has that big of an effect on, like, if one team puts up 5 runs in the first, I don't think that makes the other team any more likely to put up 5 runs after that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if I like individually each team against their respective pitcher, then I'll game stack, or I might end up on a game stack, but I'm never like saying, oh, this game is going to be high scoring, so I'm going to stack up both sides of it. There's always a bunch of steps before that where I'm getting to a game stack.
Yeah, I mean, I did try to stack the Brewers and Rockies in one lineup just because, there's a high total on. I think I have the highest totals on the night, at least if I'm remembering that correctly. So, I think there's some logic in game stacking in a situation like that. But, it's not like football where there's going to be like a decrease in it, like because of the teams involved. And so I think it's fine to do it. It's just like it's not a benefit in any real way. Like it's not like teams are going to hit harder because like, oh, we're down. We got to really – that's not how that works in baseball.
Exactly. That's like more narrative stuff that we're not into.
Yep, and that baseball makes it really easy to avoid because the data is so precise that it's not that hard to figure it out by just using data. So, yeah. Is Parra in play tonight? Yeah, I think he's in play. I don't have him, but I think he's in play.
Yeah, Coors Field batting 6th against a righty who struggles with lefties. Like 3,600 on DK, he's definitely in play.
Yeah. Questions about Buehler. Is he a good option if the Dodgers seem to always pull their pitchers early? I mean, he's had good games, so yeah, he's still an option. Like, he's been efficient and he's been pretty good at keeping scoring down. For
sure. I'm not saying he's a bad option. I just don't think I see the most K upside out of him. So right now he's got a 35% K percentage against lefties, 25 against righties. So you look at that and you're like, oh, this guy's awesome. He should be missing a bunch of bats, and he's not really. He's not getting guys to chase out of the zone, which I'm a little concerned about. The swinging strikes aren't up. First pitch strike is okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not on him. I like McCullers a bunch more, so that will be the route I'm going.
Tyler Monk's asking if we do golf. We do rankings for golf, just because Osmo has the data for it to make that work. We're actually, I think, this is actually not a thing we've put out yet, but we're probably going to be hiring a PGA guy and an MMA guy soon, or at least like somebody, a contributor type person. So if you do write those things and you know the sport, the world of DFS, maybe send in an application somewhere. Send it somewhere. Send it to one of us. But yeah, we'll definitely be doing some golf coverage, but it won't be at this level of depth that, we do baseball and stuff, because it's just not a core strength, I think, of our guys doing content. Parra or Dahl tonight? I like Dahl. I think Dahl's a better play.
Yep, Dahl, better spot in the order. You're going to get higher ownership on Dahl, but I think he's a much better play than Para. A lot better chances at home run, I think. So, for all those reasons, it's Dahl.
Yeah, I agree. This season's small sample. Mall allows a 306 ISO. Okay, these are a lot of numbers. Yeah, I don't like Mall that much, to be honest. I might have been one lineup. I think I did 10 tonight. I think I won for Mall, but he's an okay play. I think a lot of these guys tonight are like okay plays who can definitely succeed but don't look fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not. It's a slate thing with Tyler Molly or Mall. Josh told me it was Molly this morning, so whatever. We'll go with that. But
one of the two.
He's in the top 50 in whiffs per swing. 25% K rate against both righties and lefties. Swinging strikes look pretty good. I'm not all that scared of the Dodgers, and I don't think really anyone's going to be on him that much. So, I think he can have a really good start. He's had 3 pretty good starts in a row. 11 strikeouts against the Braves 3 starts ago. That was really impressive. Then followed that up with back-to-back 6-inning performances.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. This guy feels like the Twins' run total of 3.5 is kind of low. Thoughts? Well, if you feel it's low, that'd be a good reason to sack that lineup then, and probably get him at lower ownership. But I think that sounds about right to me. I think a lot of people, we have Garrett Richards be one of the highest owned pitchers on the slate because he looks the best in terms of Vegas numbers and his price and his K rate, I think. So I don't think it looks bad, but I'm also fully believing in Garrett Richards. But Jake, do you think the Twins look a little low?
No, I think that's about right. Vegas will have respect for a guy like Richards who can shut even the best offenses down, or the ones that don't, or that put the ball in play. He had 6 2/3 with 8 Ks against the Mariners in his last start, which is really tough to do against the Mariners, striking out 8. I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about the Angels bullpen. I shouldn't say I don't know anything, but looks like they got a okay bullpen. So, pitcher's park, Twins not a great offense and a good pitcher on the mound. It doesn't shock me that they're that low.
Which would you do for a one-off, Blackman or Stanton? I assume on DK. I don't know.
Yeah, so you got to take ownership into account there. If Blackman hits a home run and there's other guys on base, you're probably gonna lose. You're probably gonna lose ground on the field if LeMahieu's on or someone else is on. So I don't know. I think probably Stanton there, just for ownership reasons. I think Stanton's gonna be lower owned than him. Is that kind of where you're at?
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty much what I would think on the nose. I think Blackman's a better play overall, but as part of a stack, yeah. I think the way you explained it makes a lot of sense, actually, that if that whole stack is going to be popular, yeah, you're not helping yourself out. That's actually, I think Josh has been in that spot a couple times when he's talked about his lineups where he ended up losing ground because one of his guys had a home run. I think it was Lindor and the Indians. He didn't have enough of that Indian stack.
Right. So there's going to be a ton of Rocky stacks tonight. So I would, in general, want lower owned one-offs if I think it's close. So that's why I would go Stanton there. But it's you've got an embarrassment of riches there if that's your options.
Yeah, sure. Favorite GPP starting pitcher on FanDuel?
Let's see. I don't play on FanDuel, so I don't have it up right now. Do you want to go with yours?
I don't know either, but I'll look at the choices here on our site. Well, we do have Fulty Nevich being pretty high on FanDuel.
I like Fulty on FanDuel. It's a better price.
He is much cheaper.
Yeah. I like Miles McCollus. He's gonna be owned for sure on FanDuel 8,500, but I think he has a really good start here. So, I've talked about him all day. There's not much more to say about McCollus. I'm going down with the ship. Whatever.
I'm looking at the salaries now and trying to see which one I would go with. Woof. I'm gonna stick with saying just woof, and I don't really believe in any of them. I guess Bueller, based on the price difference, he's $1,900 cheaper. Though I guess Garrett Richards is the same price. Yeah, I'd go Garrett Richards. It sucks that he's like the third most expensive pitcher on FanDuel, but I just like Richards tonight. I think he's a good play. It's not as good of a value on there, but he's a good play. Well, that was tough. FanDuel is like, it's really hard to go from one site to another, and you're like, what are these prices? What is going on here? I feel like a frozen caveman lawyer when I look at FanDuel.
Yeah, some days it's like the pricing all lines up in terms of like the highest price guy on DK is the highest price guy on FanDuel and stuff like that. But today they're kind of all over the place. It seems like it's been like that because Josh does mostly FanDuel, and I have DK pulled up in the morning, so I can kind of see. And sometimes I'm just like really surprised, like that guy's got a $2,500 price difference, so he might be a good play on one site and just like a bad value on the other side.
Playmaker88 asking again for our picks for dongs today. We have chosen, I chose Teoscar Hernandez, and Jake chose
Moustakas.
There you go. We did it better that time. Good. we made it feel fresh and exciting for everyone all over again. It's tough in the beginning when we choose the home runs. There's such build-up and such like pressure, and then we revisit it a couple times and lose enthusiasm every single time. It's gotta, as hosts, as kings of dongs, like you and I both are, not Josh. We both need to. You're the prince of dongs currently. But
King of the dong.
Josh is the court jester of dongs.
Colin's asking for a $3,700 or less outfielder. I'm assuming that's DraftKings.
Yeah, yeah. We'll assume DraftKings unless you don't tell us you're on DraftKings.
Unless it's otherwise. 3,700. I like Ozuna. I like Pilar, but more in the context of a Blue Jays stack. So if you're not stacking the Blue Jays, Adam Jones looks pretty good for 3,500. Please don't say King of Dongs.
Well, that only makes you want to say King of Dongs more, because that's the point of it. It's not like we're not wearing this like, oh, it's so cool to crown yourself the King of Dongs. It's ironic. It's a little ironic humor. Any advice for people in a rut, Jake? Like in life? I mean, talk to a therapist if it's in life. If it's DFS, Jake, have you ever been in a DFS rut, and how'd you get out of it?
Oh yeah, it's the worst. It's not the worst. There are worse things.
There are much worse things, but yeah.
No, it's
pretty bad. It sucks.
Yeah. No, I went through a big one in NHL. I'm sure I'll go through a big one in MLB. I actually already been in a big rut in MLB early this season. It just takes like, and it's tough if you're a single lineup player because you're either getting a bunch of money back because you cash everything, or you just lose everything if you don't cash. You just got to keep making what you think are the best plays. Baseball is a variant sport, and if you're making the best plays over time or good plays over time, you're going to be profitable. So just reassess to see if you're doing that. See if the top players are on the guys you're playing. Like, just scroll through some lineups, see who Osimo's on, see who some of the top guys are on, and why they're on them, and see if you can sort of reverse engineer their lineups.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's pretty much it. Like, there's somewhere in your process that there might be a flaw. There's also just bad luck. So, I mean, if you feel like your lineups are still sound and like it just didn't go that way, I think then you stick with your process and eventually it'll turn around. I mean, sooner than later, hopefully. But I found MLB to be pretty predictive of like the effort I'm putting in and the research I'm doing, and stacking. I think those two things combined. So I do think there is a pretty quick path to value with MLB into turning it around, especially if you're not like a high stakes player. So I don't know. I think just stick with it. Stick with the process. Look at our research. That is like not to try to hawk it, but that is a very valuable thing too. Where if you know ownership, you know where it's going. You want to play a super chalky lineup because you think that that's going to work better. Like you can try different things to get out of your rut too that are possibly more plus EV. Yeah. Single entry is a little wild, but Jake does well with it. So I guess people want to critique single entry Jake.
It's like, so it's the same thing for MLB. Well, not the same thing, but it's similar in that you have one huge night where your lineup is awesome and you rake in thousands and thousands of dollars. It sort of makes up for an entire season or an entire month, and it's awesome when that happens. And then you min cash a lot of nights, and that's fine too if you're playing one lineup and you min cash, then you're in the top 20% or whatever, and you're still getting money back. It's hard when you lose, obviously, in anything. It's hard when you lose in MME, too. Some guys get smoked all the time, but it's DFS. You're going to lose some, you're going to win some.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have enough Dario Saric yesterday in the NBA thing. I had some, but, like, in a showdown slate, if you don't have enough of a guy, you're pretty much boned. So at least, with baseball, there's some options. I tend to think I like the 7-game slates the most, and I think, like, the 14 ones gets to be a little daunting for me. 7-game ones, I feel like there's a sort of limited swath of options, and it's a little more obvious what people are going to do, so you can think around it. But I don't know, like, try smaller slates, try smaller tournaments too, if you want to do that. You don't always have to go shoot for the moon, even though it's obviously the most appealing and most fun.
Right.
There's better ways to get stuff on the board.
Play the single entry, play the 3 max. Don't waste your time, not waste your time, but don't spend most of your time trying to chase these 100K prizes. I mean, everyone wants to win those. If you got the money, like, throw your lineup in there if you're a single entry player, but don't be chasing that or worrying about that. You should worry about the single entry and the 3 max stuff and just be focused on trying to cash it regularly.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's tough to adapt your approach because you see all the big winnings and stuff, but in reality, the best way to build your bankroll is to max center within your price range and stick with it. And, it's tough. It's tough to hear that, but that's what we're here for. Sobering talks about DFS. What is our official favorite stack of the day for you, Jake? Who do you have? Who do you love the most?
My favorite is Kansas City, and then we're just not going to count Coors right now. I maybe even have Kansas City over any of the Coors teams right now, and then after that it's Toronto for me. So Kansas City, Toronto, do whatever you want with Coors.
Yeah, I'm probably going Toronto. I think Coors, like, fadeable, but potentially fadeable, potentially not fadeable, I guess. But I think that Coors looks the best overall, especially on the Rockies side. But I think Toronto would be my second favorite there. I just think Leak is going to get killed. I'm hoping he's going to get killed, not literally. Hope he lives forever and serves up many home runs.
He's not quite Chris Tillman, but he's about as close as we got on this slate outside of Tillman himself.
Yeah, I agree. There was a question. Favorite shortstop on DraftKings? I feel like we already did this, but Jake, who do you have again there?
I mean, the highest price guy, Machado. A lower price guy, I said Camargo is okay if you're not playing Caleb Smith. But, man, it's tough times for shortstop on DK.
Yeah, I think Machado, Story on the high end, Arcia if you're stacking Brewers, I think makes sense. Not a great hitter or anything, but he is a player at shortstop, and shortstop gets a lot, like, doesn't get the hype of being bad that catcher does, but sometimes shortstop just sucks on a slate.
Yeah, I mean, Story's going against a righty, Turner's going against Greinke, who I believe we looked up this morning, and he's pretty good at holding runners, so that takes away some of his appeal. Like Gregorius against a lefty, Eduardo Escobar against Garrett Richards for 4,500 isn't that appealing. Bogarts against Sabathia is fine, but I just don't like that much at shortstop all around.
Yep, I agree. Gonna dong tonight. I actually like Chance Sisco. He doesn't have a big enough sample size to go crazy on, but for me, I was like, Chance Sisco looks pretty good, so I have a little bit of Chance Sisco. What do you think about Chance Sisco?
Chance Sisco, man, I think isn't he one of the worst hitters in all of the MLB so far? I swear. He's just awful. Possibly
by batting average, but potentially maybe.
So I'm just gonna look up his. Oh wait, against right-handed pitching. Let's see where Sisco ranks. All right, I have Sisco as a 37.5% K percentage. 297 on base percentage isn't the worst thing I've ever seen. 107 ISO.
Wait, you're seeing 107? I'm seeing 350 for this year, or for
against righties. Against righties.
Yeah, I see him having on FanGraphs, 350 OBP, 203 ISO, 368 BABIP.
Cisco?
Yep.
Well, I don't know what I'm looking at then. I'm seeing completely different numbers. So
was he on a different team before this year?
No, I'm looking at the active roster for the Orioles for 2018.
Oh no, yeah, because I'm like looking at FanGraphs. Well, so FanGraphs, what they do is if he was on a different team last year, it only shows his plate appearances from this year. So I only have his numbers for what I'm seeing are only 80 plate appearances.
Let's see. I've got 64 against righties this year. Yeah, I've got 37.5 K percentage. I don't know.
Well, maybe you're missing his 16th best plate appearances.
Could be. Yeah, I don't know why that would be. We would be getting different numbers there, but that's interesting. Something maybe FanGraphs is messing up here.
Maybe, or maybe whatever you're using is.
Yeah.
Are you using FanGraphs too?
Yeah.
Oh, then that's bizarre. Then I have no idea. Like I'm definitely looking. Look at the same one I always do, and I have him for 80. I have him for 80 plate appearances. Well, whatever. Chance Cisco looks good to me, not for Jake.
All right, Donaldson or Moustakas, and then I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Who do you like?
I go with Donaldson personally, just because Moustakas is going to be so highly owned. And to be honest, this is not a data thing, and I have a little bit of Moustakas tonight. He burned me last night. I thought he was going to be good.
Yeah,
it kind of pissed me off.
I'd take Moustakas. I don't think you can go wrong with either of those guys, though. What about Alex Gordon for Kansas City? He's actually hitting the ball hard this year, which I'm surprised to see. So I like him a little bit more than, we kind of skipped over him. But 7-hole lefty against Tillman is always a good spot, even if you're Chance Cisco. So I don't know. Gordon is fine for 3,800. Not my favorite price. What do you think about him?
Yeah. Hey, I think Gordon's okay. He wasn't on my Royal stack the most. But, I'm okay with him. I just liked other guys at the position more.
Yeah.
So that was how same thing with Moustakas. Like, I just, I think I'd rather go to Donaldson at third base and just be a little less chalky, maybe. But
you can play
could
both
be
of
wrong.
them on fantasy draft. So. Did I lose you there for a second?
Yeah. Who do I like in Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
I thought I lost you there for a second. It lagged here.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it was same for me, but I was just going to nod and pretend like I heard whatever you said. My Eastern Conference Final picks, I would go with LeBron. I think LeBron wins that series in probably 6 games. Could be less. And in Western Conference, I think Golden State.
How many games?
Playing both Moose. How would you play both Moose and Donaldson? Fucking FanDuel bullshit.
No, fantasy draft. Or FanDuel. But yeah, you can do it on fantasy draft. Positions don't matter.
Okay.
Infield, outfield.
Whatever.
How many games do you think?
Can't do that on
Warriors
draft,
finish.
So I can't do that.
How many games do you think the Warriors finish them off?
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit for me. Wait, did our stream end? It says stream complete.
No, we're still going.
Huh.
Oh, dude, our connection.
All right, whatever.
Our connection.
I think the Warriors probably win. Yeah, it's not great today. Warriors, I think, in 6 games also seems fair. What about the Stanley Cup, Jake?
Yeah. So I think Tampa is easily going to blow past the Capitals. They're just a way better 5-on-5 team. I think it would be very shocking if the Capitals won. And then on the other side there, so Nashville and Winnipeg play tonight in Game 7. I think Nashville wins that, and then I think that Nashville ends Vegas's streak.
Ooh, so you're not rooting for the Golden Knights. I like that idea of them going to the Stanley Cup and maybe winning it all.
I mean, yeah.
I like stories like that. That's like a sports story.
Yeah, I think Vegas should be rooting for Winnipeg to win on the road tonight. I think they'd have a better chance against Winnipeg than Nashville, but either way, it's going to be really tough for them to get to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, I agree with whatever Jake says about hockey, but I would prefer Vegas to win. That's just me. That's just me rooting for expansion teams. I also had like a Raptors jacket and a Grizzlies T-shirt when they came out as NBA teams. I think might have even gotten some sort of Texans merch. Not that I love them so much. I just like expansion teams. It's nice.
Yeah,
we're lagging. Apparently we're lagging bad. Let's just call it a stream. Whatever. It's about to be locked anyway. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you can hear this. Make sure to go to awesemo.com, sign up for a premium membership so you know all the stuff that we talk about every single day. Can we start a GoFundMe to get me hair gel? This is surfer hair right now. I need to get a haircut, but that's why I usually wear a hat. Not doing it. Anyway. Yeah, look, I live in LA. What do you want from me? But yeah, make sure to sign up. Awesemo.com premium membership helps you get paid, helps us get paid. Everybody wins in that equation. So go, Awesemo.com premium memberships. And we'll be back again tomorrow for Friday slate action, more MLB, all the MLB you can handle. Jake, any parting words?
Good luck. Have fun with this Game 7. It should be an awesome game. Enjoy your baseball. Win some money.
Yeah, go Lyles. Team Lyles. Do or die. Night, guys.